Hi, Sparkle. Thank you so much for coming to this show. I'm super excited about learning more about you and your journey. Yeah, thanks for coming. I'm super excited for get started.
you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm super excited to do this and to share my journey and just information and knowledge to help anyone else.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, before we get started with today's topic, which is like a motherhood, you want to talk about being a mom and the journey you had during the pregnancy and after the pregnancy. And before we get to that, you're a life coach yourself. Like, tell us a little bit about
Yes.
yourself. Like, how you go into life coaching? What you used to do before becoming a life coach?
Yes. So, a little bit of my background. So, I have 16 years of experience in marketing strategy and communication. So, that
Mhm.
was my original goal and plan starting from college. Just fell in love with marketing in high school somewhere. And so, I went to school to pursue that.
Yeah.
Started out in healthcare marketing. Did that for close to a decade, did some teaching in marketing. So I worked at a local community college and taught students about marketing. And then more recently, I moved into higher education marketing at a career center at my local university here.
Right.
And so during that time when I was at my local university, I think I've always had the desire to just be a life coach and to pour out and to develop people. It's something that's been very natural to me.
Yeah.
I've just always been that person, and I'm sure you've interviewed other people who have
Yeah.
said this. I've been that person that people ask what to do, give advice, think through situations with. And so I love doing that. I was a part of a networking group back in 2017. They were offering a personal growth mastermind
Mhm.
coaching group. I said, why not? Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
I signed up for it. It was a total of 4 of us. First few weeks, I was like, oh, this is okay. About the fourth week, I was like, this is everything. Light bulb
Yeah.
moment. I just got so much knowledge from it. And my actual coach at that time, the person that was leading us, was from the John Maxwell team. And
Right.
so we did a mastermind, and then I started doing one-on-one coaching with her for 6 months. I loved it. I grew so much. I said, I got to get into this. This is exactly the path that I want to get into. And there's so
Mhm.
many life coaching programs out there.
Yeah.
And they're all great. You just have to find one that connects with you.
Yeah.
And I chose John Maxwell because his is based off faith and values and developing people. And that's my story. I
Yeah.
am a Christian. I am a Christian. My faith is very important to me, and my values are very important to me. And then developing people is important. And so he just aligned very closely with what I believe. So it's a certification program. It took
Mhm.
a couple of years to get through, but I got through that and I got certified as a speaker, trainer, and coach with the John Maxwell team. So I've been doing that since 2017, and I was balancing that with still my full-time career in
Yeah.
marketing, which is hard, right? I really
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know now. I don't know how I was doing that.
It's just a God
See,
helps you, isn't it? Like God gives the strength when you need to do something, you just go and done
yeah.
with it, isn't it? Yeah.
I look back now and I'm like, how did I have time? Did I sleep? Did I eat? That was nuts. And
Yeah.
so 2020 came and lent me the opportunity, not only with COVID, but with having our first child of let's think about this. Let me reset all the stuff I tell my clients. Let me do this for myself really while I have the time, and
Yeah.
saying what's the opportunity that's available to me right now? What is something that is going to be best for me based on my values? And so I decided it was time to flip it, that I
Mm.
needed to pursue full-time life coaching and leadership development and leadership training and coaching, and take marketing to a back seat. And so will I go back to that? Maybe. Do I still do some marketing and consulting? Sure, a little bit, but really the focus now is on developing people. That's what my passion is. That's what gives me fire. That's what gets me up in the
Yeah.
morning, and keeps me up late at night too. But that is how I got started, and that's what I have been doing. And so now I'm doing that full time and just jumping full back into it.
Yeah, that's super exciting. You doing
Yeah.
like what you're meant to be doing, right? And that's like
Yes.
it gives us so much energy to wake up every morning, you changing someone's life. So what type of like a topic do you touch on? And who do you actually help with your coaching?
All Yes, all types of topics. I can say though, I see some trends. I
Yeah.
see some trends in the type of people that are attracted to me. And I think that's a part of my life story. So I help men and women, individuals as well as professionals. I have a lot of working professionals, a
Mhm.
lot of business owners, and surprisingly, I have a lot of retirees or I'm about to retire. I
Right.
have a lot of that. I would say I don't have a lot of like young college students
Yeah.
that are, climbing the corporate ladder. It is us that is like in the middle. I would say even my
Mhm.
age range is probably from 30 all the way up to like 65, 70. And my clientele is a lot of transition, people who are in life transitions. Okay.
Yeah.
So whether that is a career transition, a relationship transition, I work with a lot of clients on that. Job and career dissatisfaction, boy, that's one of my number ones. And honestly, I think the reason why people are attracted to my program and me for that is because I talk about that so much. I
Yeah.
was in marketing for so long, but I had several roles at times where I was just dissatisfied and I was unhappy. And so I'm able to help people kind of come out of that and see what they really want to do. Another topic that I help is relationship,
Mhm.
navigating those unhealthy relationships, whether it's friendship, whether it's a significant other, whether it's your relationship dynamic between your family of origin and your
Yeah.
parents and a loved one. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about let's how to set some boundaries. And then another hot topic is just unhealthy mindsets and patterns. A lot of this goes back to our thinking.
Yeah.
And how can we think differently about ourselves, about others, about the opportunities and the experiences that we've had? And that leads a lot into like self-love, self-acceptance, and discovering ourselves, finding our own gifts and our talents and our purposes. Those two are always connected. An unhealthy mindset or an unhealthy pattern of thinking is normally connected to, I can see, low self-esteem, poor
Mhm.
self-worth, some rejection. Let's talk about that. Let's see how we can pull you out of that so that we can direct you into finding your life's purpose, the gifts and talents, that God has given you that you want to use on this earth. Because we all have them, right?
Yeah.
They're just hidden, and they're hidden underneath all the junk.
I
And so
know.
I help people get through the junk. I say, I'm helping you get through the junk. And it's hard work, it's deep work, but I'm there to be a support, to be an encouragement, and to just love on people because I want to see them, walk in greatness.
Yeah, that's super cool. And like everything is connected, isn't it? Like a work-wise relationship, like your connection with your God, also
Yeah.
like how you treat people and how you are with the health-wise, everything connected in a life. It's not like a
Yes.
one aspect. We only think like our career is everything, or relationship is
Right.
everything, or
you
like I have to
you
be spiritual and let go everything else. But it's not the case. It's like a balance of everything, right?
you are so right. And I tell people that all the time, whether I'm coaching or I'm speaking or having a conversation with you. I mean, I enjoyed our conversation the first time we met because it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you get it. Like all of this is intersectional. I think you're right. We think, well, just help me sparkle focus on my career.
Mm.
But what you don't realize is how you think affects all areas of your life.
Yeah.
What you don't realize is how you are on the inside is going to affect the career, how you are at home, how you are with others in a relationship. I always tell people this: how can you lead someone else if you can't lead yourself? You got to
Yeah.
lead yourself first. And I see so many people that are in leadership roles and they make tons of money and they're directing and leading tons of people, and it's no self leadership. They are
No.
terrified. They are afraid. Their home is a wreck. They are a disaster on the inside, but they got to go out every day and put this
Yeah.
face on. And so my job too is when I work with leaders and companies specifically is to really pour into that leader and
Mm.
to help them. Why? Because I feel like what you are on the inside comes out and that will spill out into your organization. If you
Yeah.
want to take an assessment of how that culture and that work environment is, look at that leader. And if
Yeah.
we can get them in good shape, you can get that department and that environment in good shape because it goes from the top down. And so I believe that. I'm so in agreement with you. It's all those sectors. It's not just help me find a better job.
I know.
Help me find, I want to be married. Okay, we got to work on the inside of you
Yeah.
first.
And another thing you interestingly touched on, which is like you help people on like a middle age, like age 35, 40 years old, or even though like late 60s, 70s, like just retiring people. We oftentimes think like we pressurize our young people, like who just go out from college or university, just got their degree, right? You have to figure out everything, or even though just finished the school, you need to figure out your life. And those people you're coaching, they're still figuring out their life, what I'm meant to be doing. And like they've been on a career for 20 years, 30 years, and they had no clue why they did their career in the first place. And now they're looking for the purpose.
Yes. Well, and you know what? I think that's such a good point that you bring up. And so when I was at my university here, University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, I worked at the Career Center. And so part of my job was not only marketing, but I got a chance to career coach students. And so I would always coach students who would come in my office and they would be flustered because they think I have to have it all figured out. And I'm the coach that would tell them, no, you don't. Do you think I have it figured out? Because I don't. And so I think that's the misperception. It's that, okay, between like 18 and 25, I'm going to get it all together and I'm going to figure it out. And I think one of the reasons why my clientele is so high in that age group of like 30 and up is because we have that epiphany. We've had that moment of, this isn't wait a minute. I thought that I was supposed to have it all figured out, and I'm 30. And I'm 35, I'm 40, I'm 45, and I still don't. And it's almost like crisis mode. And so I'm hoping that I will also do some shifting later to start helping that younger group even more so that they know, hey, it's okay that you don't know what you want to do, and I think also I love the entity of higher education. It's afforded me a lot of opportunities, a lot of great experiences. But Roselle, I will also say that I think that with higher education, we don't teach all the time, or it's not perceived from the student standpoint that you don't have to have just one career all your life. We think choose a major and I got to stay in that major, Sparkle. I've heard that so many times. Well, I'm poli-sci, so I got, but you may love music too. What do you want to do with music? You may end up, rocking it out in a band. But
and so many careers nowadays, so many careers coming up like every single year, and we have no clue. Like if you think about like when Instagram first came, there's a new career is like being an influencer, right? So those who was like trying to do something with their life, let's say in 2005, 2006, there was no Instagram. And it become like taking your pictures and post it. And now people have like a full-time career on that.
Yes, they do.
YouTuber and so many things, new things coming on. Like you become a TikToker now. So we don't know next year what's going to come. Even though podcast, it wasn't there for 10, 15, 20 years back. I had no clue, like I'll be doing the podcasting. That wasn't like something I grew up with. So we can adapt into new things and have it like open-minded. Let's say even though I'm being a doctor, I can do something else. I can be a lawyer. I can do something else on the side. And it's not like
that's so good.
We have to figure it out. And
that's so good.
And another thing, like which is hurt me, like people need to figure out everything, like age of 25 or 30. Look at other people. So many young people have died. Like a Black Panther actor. He's on his like 30s. And
Chaz Boswick.
He had to gone because like unfortunate things happen, and he achieved a lot of things. But again, another Kobe Bryant, unfortunate. Death. Like he even mentioned one of the video I've seen, like he slept only 4 hours. He sacrificed all of them things to get where he are. At the moment, he's just retired from it and just start living a little bit. Unfortunately, he had to go. So why we have to chasing so many things? Why not living in the present moment and start figuring out? Even though you achieve something or don't achieve something, end of the day, what really matters is like your own happiness, right? And people are going to remember you like for a day or two. Like how many times we're talking about Kobe Bryant? Is it like once a year when we're going to celebrate his death day? So the time we're going to probably remember it, other than, or like we talking, that's all. Other than that, it's not like every day we are thinking or working, we're not remembering him, are we? So we need to stop that, I think. Like
you're right. I agree 100%. I think we are not taught in our culture and in society how to live in the moment. We are taught to get, keep going. And so You're chasing. It creates
Yeah.
a fear, a panic, and anxiety. And so in working with college students, I have seen this fear, this panic and anxiety, that I have to be this version of what the world says is a
Yeah.
success versus what really makes me happy. And I think God has created us in a way that he's given us a unique personality and unique likes and dislikes, and how you are made up. That's
Yeah.
pointing to something. And if you uniquely like something, like, lean into that. I help people lean into that. It's not a right or wrong, because you like music and you like to help people and you want to do it through healthcare. It's nothing wrong with that. And I think what happens is pressure. And I think even at our institutions, what I'm hoping for, like higher education institutions, and I see it changing a little bit, where they are putting more classes into place where they are helping students professionally and personally develop, where they're actually putting courses together, where it's like, okay, let's have a course where we're talking about your career and finding your passion and finding your interest. Because I think what they're seeing is a lot of dissatisfied people. Like, yeah, I went to college, and then 5 years later, they're like, okay, I'm miserable. Or what I saw was trending, which was really interesting in the last probably 2 to 3 years, was a lot of students that we surveyed decided, you know what, like, I'm here, I'm going to college, but I have this side hustle. Like you said, Instagram has allowed me to start taking cool photos. That's what I want to do. Like, I have this huge following because I take these photos. And I mean, I had students, Roselle, that I was like, you're a student, you go to school and you have all this, like, so talented in photography. Some of them are running their own businesses and they're freshmen, at a Research One institution. And so it makes them take a step back and think, okay, do I want to go this route of what, the culture is telling me? Some of them have told me, I don't want to go work 9 to 5. I don't want to be, working until midnight and not seeing my friends. I would rather freelance and have time to have fun. So it's all about being in the moment and really knowing yourself and knowing what's best for you.
Absolutely. That's why we talk to you.
Yes. That is why I coach people, and I love doing it, because I want people to be at their best. Because that's what makes the world go round. Seriously. I want happy people in our world.
Absolutely. That's the whole purpose of this podcast, like being happy and finding out who you are and what are you doing? Keep asking the question to yourself.
Yes.
Well, let's get to the topic of today's, which is an interesting one, which is like motherhood. I know, like, you had your first child and everything, so it wasn't the easy process. So tell us a little bit, like, how everything started. Was it like a plan for you having a child, or it just, like how things happen during the pandemic? A lot of people, like, unexpectedly, like, had a first child or second child,
I have a lot of friends that have pandemic babies that we're calling them. I was not one of them. Let me start off to say that I have always been, pretty ambitious, high achiever. Even struggled with, perfectionism a lot. And so I grew up in a household where my parents, really wanted us to go to college and to be, successful. I'm a first generation college student, and they instilled in us very early that, we want you guys to go to college and be successful. So I wasn't sure I wanted to be a mom. I will be honest. I was very career driven, very purpose driven, very passionate. And so being a mom scared me. Because I will be honest, similar to what we just talked about in careers, I saw a bunch of stressed out, burnt out mommies. And I was like, this feels painful. I don't think I want to sign up for that. So it took me a while to really lean into that. My husband and I have been married for 10 years, and we decided, okay, well, we should probably get around to this, right? There was a point in time where I was ready, he wasn't, and then kind of vice versa. And so we were like, let's start this process of planning for a family. And it just did not come as easy as I thought. We both had some health concerns that we had to clean up prior to actually getting pregnant. So that was about a 1.5 year journey, Roselle, to be honest, of just cleaning up our health and doctor's appointments. And I even had to have a small surgery. And so that was enough to be like, well, should I do this? This is exactly what I'm talking about being a mother. This is already hard. So then we did get pregnant June of 2019. And so pregnancy was really great by the grace of God. Beautiful pregnancy. I felt that it went so fast.
Yeah.
And it was probably because the Lord knew 2020 was coming and like, yep, let's get you ready. So after I had my son in February of 2020, February 10th to be exact.
Yeah.
And so we delivered him, and just the delivery process was not even what I imagined. And so I say all that to say, because a lot of us, what brings disappointment is we have these expectations in our mind.
Yeah.
We have it all planned out. It's like a dream. And so we think it's going to go this way. And
this
then
way, and it doesn't come
when
this way at all. Yeah.
Right. You just, depending on where you are as a person, whether that's a person of faith, a person of peace, whatever, you can fall apart and it can shatter you.
Yeah.
And so delivery just wasn't exactly, what I thought. My son had to be in NICU for a couple of days. So this vision that I had of, okay, I'm going to hold him and you're going to do the skin to skin and all that, that didn't happen. I know you guys experienced that too. Like, you didn't have that and you're like, well, this is not what I planned. So when we finally brought him home, that was also not what I planned.
Yeah.
He cried that first night from like 4 p.m. all the way to like midnight. We were up all night. And I think he was having a reaction to the actual formula that we were brought home with. And it was terrible. It was terrible. So I'm like, okay, I've been a mom for 4 days and none of this is going the way I thought that it was supposed to go, right? This is supposed to be a happy time, right? You bring your baby home, the nursery's ready. Ooh, look at your nursery. No, we're all over the place. He's screaming and crying. I'm a mess. I'm crying because I feel like my kid is hungry. I can't feed him.
It's nice for everyone around you, like who come and visit you, to see their grandchild or like a cousin, brother, or like a nephew, nieces. For them, it's a nice thing, because when the baby cries, they give it, pass it to you, but you look after it or change his diaper, things like that.
Yeah. So that was the first few days. And again, this is pre-COVID. Like, COVID was here at this time, but we weren't in any shutdown. It wasn't, we were hearing stuff, but it wasn't a panic yet. So then we moved to the end of February, beginning of March. And my husband was back to work then. He only took like a week off because my mom was here to help, and my sister. And he's like, hey, I think I'm gonna have to work from home because this coronavirus. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, dude, I am so off my square right now. We have this new baby. I'm trying to figure it out. And I was like, maybe I should turn on the TV because something is obviously going on. And so, COVID hits, changes everything, because all these best laid plans I had all planned out in my mind. And let me tell you this, I'm a planner by nature. Like, I just plan stuff. I had spent, 16 years in marketing. It's what you do. You have a strategy. You are 12 steps ahead all the time so that you can be successful. So that's how I ran my life. And okay, I'm going to have mom come here, sister come here, this friend here. Everybody's going to come over. People are going to help. None of that. COVID shut it down. People can't come over.
No.
People can't help. And so now I'm thrown into motherhood with COVID. Everything shut down. Okay, nothing's the same. My husband's here, great, because he has to work remotely, but he still has to work.
Yeah, he still has time schedule.
Yeah, I'm on maternity leave. So I'm there, and my mom and sister were still able to come a little bit, but I mean, I have 2 nephews. My sister had to then be at home with my nephews, and now this virtual learning, and she's thrown into a whirlwind. And so that's about around March. And what I started feeling was, they tell you about baby blues and all this stuff and how to watch for it. So I had the baby blues, knew that, read about it, was like, I'm feeling a little off. This will shake off. Well, we're going into March, Roselle, and I'm like, this is not moving. This is weird. Okay. End of March. Boy, I can't seem to shake this. Okay, Sparkle, come on. Let's shake this. By April, I'm like, this is weird. So by then I'm not picking up on the signals anymore. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. I got a baby, it's crying. I'm trying to figure it out. We're in COVID. And so my sister was visiting a couple of days, one weekend, and she stopped and asked me, she said, hey, how are you doing? I was like, what do you mean? How am I doing? I was like, what kind of question is that? I was like, I'm a new mom. I'm trying to figure out breastfeeding. I'm trying to do this. And she's like, yeah, you seem a little high strung. you seem a little tense. And I was like, well, wouldn't you be tense? I'm in COVID. I'm a new mom, yada,
Yeah.
yada, yada. And so her and my husband have been having some conversations, just kind of watching. And
Yeah.
she's like, I think you got some postpartum depression and or anxiety going on. Well, I had both.
Yeah.
And so I'm finding out that's more common than not. You think one or the other, but I actually had both. The crazy thing is I didn't plan for that either.
Yeah.
You know, I feel myself, okay, I'm a pretty strong-minded person, strong-willed person. I got this. No, I did not have this. You know, having
And I think like for like a COVID and lockdown, it just affected you more because, you know, seeing your friends and family, right?
yeah, I think there I'm a type of person, and I'm learning to do better with this. A child
Yeah.
helps you with this, and you probably experienced this too. Previously, being flexible and change, not my thing.
Mm.
Give me the routine. I'm very left brain structured. If I got it organized, if this is the way to go, great. When we get off that path,
Yeah.
problem. Let's get it back. Well, you know, baby is not like that. Sleep schedule is off.
No.
Eat schedule,
Yeah.
everything is off. So I kind of already had hesitations because I knew this new little person, as cute as he is, he's going to throw all this off. Well, then let's throw in COVID. What I didn't plan on, I was like, okay, so my friends can't come over. Huh. So there's no church.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I wanted to go out and just get a breather and maybe go and get a manicure or a pedicure, nope,
Yeah.
can't do that. Maybe I want to go and get something from my favorite restaurant. Nope, no
You can't do
restaurant.
that either.
So
Yeah.
everything was taken. Plus, I mean, you're in a life change. I mean, you have life changes,
Yeah.
birth, you know, marriage, whether it's divorce, you know, death, change of job. You have these transitions, right? Okay, I'm having a huge transition with motherhood. Now let's have a world transition. Let's have a pandemic on top of that. And I really
Mm.
found myself at a crossroads, honestly, with my faith and with God saying, hey, you could have chose any time for me to get pregnant. This is what you thought was best. Like we could have did this. We were trying for a year and a half. Why did we
Yeah.
not do this in 2018? Why would you throw me into this catastrophe right now? And so it was months and months of this. I will be honest, 100% honest with everybody. And I've told my own clients this. It has probably taken me, once my son got 18 months, I was like, I'm feeling more back to myself. It
Mm.
was that long, you know. And some people it takes a shorter amount of time.
Yeah.
I also will say for, you know, your women audience who is listening, I also had to have a C-section. So that recovery is a little bit different.
Yeah. It takes a
And
longer,
so
isn't it?
longer time. And
Yeah.
so I just think for me, it took a longer time to bounce back. And so, you know, my son also about month 4 through about month 9, he just was really fussy, cry all the time. And I'm like, and the cry and the fussy, I'm like, what do I do to stop? Well, we learned
Yeah.
he had some reflux. So we
Right.
had to go through 5 months of that until we got to month 9, until we finally got some x-rays. And then we had to, so all this stuff for a person who's a perfectionist and saying, this is the plan, nothing was going.
And it's different for you when you have like your own child, like even though he's sleeping, you're checking is he breathing or not. You know,
Yes.
like that's a different feeling. Like it's not about perfectionist. It's like that things happens like when you become your parent. Like I can
Yes.
resonate to that because my father now is 6.5 months. So
Yes.
when I was like to see my nephew and nieces, wasn't that kind of feelings, you know?
Yes.
But even though they're fighting with each other, my nephew and nieces,
Yeah.
I would have like let them fight. Now with my boy, if anyone tried to kiss him, I was like, whoa, wait,
Yeah.
let me
Oh,
check.
wait.
Like, yeah, like what's going
Yeah.
on in there. So
Yes. No,
it's a different feelings, right?
that is a very good point. So I am an aunt to 2 wonderful nephews. They are now about to be 13, 12 and 7. And I'm very close with them. I'm very close with my sister. And I was there for their birth.
Yeah,
I stayed with my sister for like 14 days for each, helping and I spent a lot of time with them. So I thought, because I had the relationship with my nephews and I've experienced that, okay, I got this,
yeah,
as motherhood. And like you're saying, it's very different because your child is different than any other child in this world.
yeah,
And
sure.
so the experience my sister had, I just remember being there with her and they brought her, back up. She had a C-section as well, brought her back up and she has the baby like under her arm and so this is my vision, right? Roselle, this is what I'm thinking is going to
Yeah.
happen. And it didn't. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And I'm like, her kids didn't cry. My nephews just weren't criers. They just, one of my nephews, like, you didn't even have to rock him to sleep. You know, he just wore himself out, you know, playing with his toys. You just scooped him up. So I'm thinking, this is how kids are. And then I get this baby who cries, all the time. He cries and I have to rock them and console. And I'm like, did you give me the wrong child, Lord? Like, hey, wait, what's going on? And so all these things go through your head, including, like you said, that anxiety of, are they breathing? Are they okay? And so I think that part is almost normal, but I had that heightened sense where I'm like, I would be sleeping, I'm wake up in a panic and I'm like checking the baby monitor and that's, you know, that's when, you know, okay, this is something maybe different and you should talk to your, you know, your physician, your doctor about what's going on for sure. And maybe getting, you know, medication if that's the route that you want to go. But like, yeah, you already have that sense of protection over them. And then when you heighten it with COVID, I think I was just in a whirthound.
It makes it like a 10 times worse since like you get to see your friends and family to go out, like even to going for a walk and like having your own time.
Yes. And I mean,
people around you.
I have friends, and you probably have experienced this too. I have friends, he's almost 2. He'll be 2 in February. They haven't seen him except on Zoom. And they're like, there's no way I would have thought that I wouldn't, you know, be there and holding him and helping. I'm like, yeah, I know, but you guys, you know, you couldn't be here. You couldn't come over, couldn't come down to visit. The best thing I could do, like you said, we would get out. I would take walks with him. A lot of what I would do, I would get in the car and drive. I'm like, I just need to go. I tell my husband, can you watch him for a moment? Let me just get in the car and drive. I mean, nothing was open. So I'm just driving around the streets, but it's like, get me out of the house for the moment.
Yeah, it makes it like a really hard, like when we had our child on ICU, and normally like it allows like a grandparents, or you can bring some of your friends or family members with you, like they can be sit next to you. But it was really hard for us, even though we had to take a turn, me and my wife. So if both can sit there for like 2-3 hours at the same time, then after that one have to leave. But how are you gonna leave like your child? So it's like when you're all alone, all of them bad thoughts come to your head and you start thinking negative. So sometimes like I'm strong enough, but I feel like when I leave my wife, she's probably crying with it, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. Because because the mother got like a different kind of attachment with their own child comparing to her dad. And I can relate to that right now, because seeing it and experiencing it is totally different, because dad have their love and affection there, because with the mother and the child, that cannot be like they compare with their dad, you know.
You know, you're so right. You're so right. People would tell you that, but until you like have your own child, and my sister who I'm close with would always say, she always says like, I can't describe for you what it is. And so, I mean, because the moment that you're pregnant, like you start connecting with this person that's inside of you that you don't even know their name yet, because I hadn't figured out the name yet. And so I have videos where at night I would just sit there and I would just talk to him and I would rub my stomach and hi, and then the first time you feel the baby move and you're like, this is like wonderful. Or you go from an ultrasound where it's like a little dot and you're like, this is a head and a foot. What is happening? And so that motherhood connection is, yes, I tell my husband that all the time. I'm like, you're a wonderul father, and he is. And I'm like, but there is a connection between me and my son. His name is Micah. I'm like, you just are never going to get. I'm like, I can't. And he's like, what? I'm like, I can't describe it. It's embedded. I mean, when I did finally get a chance to hold him, because like I said, they took him straight to NICU. He had swallowed some fluid. I was so dizzy and sick, not feeling good, kind of nauseous from the actual anesthesia that I had. When we finally got him, that was sometime on a Tuesday evening. Like I felt like, I'm like, he knows me. Like the first thing he did, like he put his little finger, like he held my finger, and I was like, dude, how do you know this? And like he just nestled on my chest, and I'm like, I feel like he just knows, like, oh, okay.
They can sense it. They can sense that, and until like you have your own, then you wouldn't realize it. And babies are so clever.
They are.
How did you go from like from being a depression and having a tough time to changing yourself. Now you're doing a life coaching. What was the transition like? Did you get the support from your husband, or like you had to go through a coach? How did it happen?
I used all those things. The first thing, like I said, I am a woman of faith and I believe in Jesus. And so I had to cling to him. What for me, it was an opportunity to go deeper in my relationship with God and Jesus, to be honest. What I realized is that some of the things I had built my faith on, I had built peace on, were not lasting. And that I really needed to know the peacemaker, which is Jesus. I needed to know that it's not the things that I do that brings peace, but him, the person, brings peace, and that he loves me. And that I really was mad at God at that time, because I was like, you left me. This was your bright idea. Like, I told you I wasn't sure I wanted to have a baby and be a mother, and look where we are. Like, see? And I had to have that real conversation, and I do with God. That's just how we flow. And I had to allow him to show me who he really was versus who I thought that he was. So that was one of the most powerful things for me, was getting back to a stronger foundation in my relationship with God. I mean, with 2020 came so many changes. And I mean, like many people, for me, like all my little like routines and stuff I did were out the window. I'm like binge watching Netflix. All my favorite shows are on. I'm just like all over the place. And so we talked about mindset earlier. I didn't have a lot of good coming into my eye gates and my ear gates. I just had a lot of junk. And so it's hard to hear clearly, especially from the Lord, when you have a lot of stuff that's coming in that's negative and that's not from him. So I had to clean up my eye gates and my ear gates and get close with him. I also found strong support. My husband was awesome during that time. He's still awesome, but he was so awesome because he kept saying, I've never seen you like this. And I was like, I've never seen you like this. I don't know what this is. I just feel terrible. I just don't feel like myself. And he just was, what can I do? How can I help? So he stepped up in ways that I
easier, isn't it?
Yeah. And I couldn't do, some days I physically couldn't do it because my mind was just, I'm anxious. I don't feel like myself. And he's like, that's okay. I'm going to kick in. So I found support in him. I already had a counselor. I believe not only in coaching, but I also believe in counseling. Like I said, I'm a woman of faith, but that doesn't mean that you just need Jesus. He created people. You need to use them. Get coaches, get therapists. They're there to help you. And I have both. And so I increased my sessions with my therapist. We were meeting weekly and sometimes twice a week. She's like, and we met weekly until like February or March of 2021, because she's like, I got to make sure where you are. I got to make sure where your head is. And so we would have conversations about how I was feeling that day. And she would like, what happened today? This was a trigger for me, because I feel like some days I'm getting better, but I'm like, man, 2020, like those moments of infancy that you have with your child from like that 0 to 12, or even I would say that 3-month mark to like about 9 months. I just was robbed. I just felt so miserable. I'm like, I was so busy trying to get out of the depression and the anxiety and almost wishing him away some days. I didn't get to enjoy that. And so her walking me through that and helping me realize like not to feel guilty and that hormones play a factor. And this is a big change. So she was helpful with that. And then, I found the support of family and friends. I couldn't see them in person, but thank God for Zoom and, Facebook Messenger and the phone and having conversations and having other things to talk about besides baby. What's going on with your life? How's, work going? How's your family? Like that helped me kind of get back. It's been a slow groove. It really has. I wish it would have been immediate. And for some people it is. But for me, even, in the process of, using medication, I use a more natural method because that's just my personal philosophy. Even with that, I saw some immediate changes, but it still was the mindset for me, the healthy mindset and working through that to get to the place where I am now. And so, I've gone through this to say I'm learning still from it and using it as a testimony and to help even more people in my coaching. I'm sure there's some moms out there that feel the same, and I got you. I know how you feel.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like a great turning point, like from coming out from a depression to right now you inspiring other people, helping them working through.
Yes.
It's a great way of coming back, and
Yeah.
I know like it was an easy process. There is a lot to like cover, but we're running out of the time. So those wants to
Yeah.
know more about yourself, want to work with you or get some advice, how they can reach out. You have a website, social media.
I do. So, yes, if you go to my website, it is sparklesanders.com. So, Sparkle is my real name. It's easy to remember. So, sparklesanders.com is my website. All my information is there about coaching, about leadership, I also have a ministry called Beautiful Truth. I have been doing that ministry since 2013. And that is all about helping, using the word of God to inspire and encourage others in their daily faith walk. So I have a Facebook page for that. It's under Beautiful Truth. I have about a little bit over 9,300 followers where I do daily blogs on my Facebook page. I've coached people from that as well. I have a YouTube channel for Beautiful Truth where once a week I do inspirational videos, and this is all just to lift people up. I mean, this is before 2020. Life can be challenging, and I want people to know that you are not meant to stay in that challenge. That's why I coach. That's why I speak. That's why I teach. Like, this is a bump in the road, and if you see it like that and don't get stuck, you can get on to victory and have the great life that you're supposed to have.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. So
Thank you.
I thank you so much for coming to our show, sharing your journey, and it was a great fun to
Yes, thank you for
have
having
this
me.
podcast with you. And I wish you good luck and wish you good luck
You
with
too.
your son as well. And hope you have
You too.
amazing life. And
You too.
thanks for coming again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invite. Have a
You're
wonderful
most
day.
welcome. So that's a wrap, guys. So till then, stay safe, stay healthy. I'll see you on the next episode. So take care.